And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. Stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in is called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out.
It's painful, right?
Huh?
Is it painful?
They use this
Yeah, a little bit. And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that.
I started working on human mitochondrial DNA so that I would have some kind of view that was objective, that would help me understand and help other people understand how humans around the world were related. I was very excited when I first started to get evidence, and it was so counterintuitive. I'd put 20 Europeans and 20 African Americans on a sheet of X-ray film, and every African American showed differences, and all the Europeans looked the same. And I thought I'd mislabeled something, or I thought I'd made some drastic mistake. And we kept repeating and repeating things, and as we got more samples from different areas, I realized that it was a difference in the pattern, and that this whole new type of evidence based on mitochondria was going to change the way we thought about modern humans.
Lupita's results contained something I'd never seen before. When we examined her mitochondrial DNA, the genetic fingerprint passed down from mother to daughter across generations, we found that she carries DNA from the oldest maternal haplogroup, a very ancient branch of the mtDNA tree, just adjacent to what scientists call the mitochondrial Eve, the most recent woman from whom all living humans today descend.
The responses of people were sort of amazing. The public was genuinely interested in certain aspects of it, but there was a tendency to misinterpret the data because of the terminology used to describe this woman, African Eve. And people thought it meant the biblical Eve, the single woman in the Judeo-Christian Bible of the wife of Adam. I have to say, even my own uncle sent me a Christmas card the year that our study was published saying, "How dare you, you know Grandma wasn't black."
And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
No, you gotta be out of here, monkey.
You can get paid a lot more than that.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid.
Yeah, but we spent
I bid $500 for you know.
I'm prepared to outbid him anyway.
Whatever I bid, he's going to outbid me.
I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs.
Yeah.
If you have an abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured and recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, and it's life for mankind. No, the best eggs are 60 to 18 years old. Those are the best eggs. And as you get older, your eggs get weaker and weaker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So you may not be our top candidate.
No, that's fine. I think that was my business anyway.
As we mark Women's History Month, we can't ignore a troubling trend. Missing Black women and girls have received a fraction of the news coverage missing white women and girls have nationwide. A study analyzing news coverage found that while Black people make up nearly 40% of all missing persons cases, white women were overrepresented, receiving more than half of the national news coverage, even though they make up less than a third of all missing persons cases. And according to the National Crime Information Center, Black women and girls are more likely to be reported missing. Last year, they accounted for roughly 36% of all females reported missing in this country, even though they make up 15% of all women and girls in America.
No, the best eggs are 16 to 18 years old. Those are the best eggs.
The only reason
and as you get older, your eggs get weaker and weaker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So you may not be our top candidate.
In recent months, there's been growing alarm that more people in D.C. are missing, particularly girls.
All of a sudden, we start having a lot of young females missing.
This past week, a post that was retweeted over 47,000 times claimed that 14 Black girls had gone missing in Washington, D.C. in a 24-hour period.
In the first 10 days of this month, 10 young Black and Latinos, most of them female, were reported missing in Washington, D.C.
Today, Washington, D.C., more than a dozen teenagers have been reported missing. All of them Black or Latino. These are just some of their faces we're showing. There was an emotional town hall last night. Members of the community spoke out, telling their city leaders they're afraid for their families because of what they view as an apparent spike in the number of missing kids. Sadly, though, for that community, the chief of police told the crowd that this is far from a new problem.
The disturbing fact is that we do have that many kids that go missing in our city, and it's been that way for a long time.
Governor Walz held a signing ceremony launching the Missing and Murdered African American Women Task Force. Among those on hand was Lakeisha Lee of St. Paul, who will serve on the new panel.
Me being here proves that my life, my sister's life, my daughter's life, it matters.
Lee became active on this issue because her sister, Brittany Clardy, was murdered in February of 2013. Her body found in the trunk of a car in a tow lot 3 weeks after Brittany suddenly disappeared.
We don't see in any other race on the planet these curvy, sexy Black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection. And we want some of that. And we want some of that. And we want some of that.
I want to learn everything I can about my mama's cells.
They've been at the forefront of basically every major medical breakthrough.
Even though Henrietta Lacks passed away in 1951, she still made huge contributions to the medical field.
Those cells were being used to help cure polio and cancer and HIV.
To know that a part of your family is the reason why we have vaccinations and in vitro fertilization is just amazing.
Everyone's saying Henrietta Lacks donated themselves. They took them and didn't ask.
Her family was not informed. Doctors had taken a sample of her tissue, and over time, what had happened to her and her cells were revealed.
And the family of Henrietta Lacks has reached a settlement with a biotech company accused of profiting off her immortal cell line. Lacks died of cancer in 1951. Back then, doctors took some of her cancer cells without her or her family's consent. Those cells have been used in countless medical breakthroughs. The Lacks family says it has waited 70 years for justice.
You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection. And we want some of that. And we want some of that. And we want some of that.
Billionaires like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are known for their charitable contributions, but not all great givers crave the spotlight. Last night at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, an anonymous individual gave an unprecedented donation of 200 human kidneys. The secret benefactor delivered his gift a few minutes before 4 a.m. this morning, as seen here in the security camera footage.
It's an amazing gift. The kidneys are so fresh, they clearly must have been removed within the last 24 hours.
The philanthropist sought no fanfare and left without requesting so much as a thank you.
Whoever did this is obviously very skilled with a knife, and it looked to me like they've done this before, maybe hundreds, thousands of times. We are just incredibly grateful.
The hospital's medical technicians have been working overtime to sort through the massive donation.
They left a note in the bag that indicated they might be making more additional donations in the future.
What happened to this teenage boy walking through this school gym? He's captured here on surveillance camera, then disappears until...
Criminal outside's going out. There's a dead body out here.
17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was found upside down in a rolled gym mat last January. Investigators say he was reaching for a shoe, got stuck, and died.
We have found nothing to indicate this was anything other than just a tragic accident.
You could tell he was beaten.
Kendrick's parents believe the story about the shoe is a cover-up, and they question why sheriff's investigators either did not collect or test potential evidence from the scene.
Got some questions about the Kendrick Johnson case.
I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Why not, sir?
Because our case is closed.
Kendrick's body was exhumed. His parents paid for an independent autopsy, and the pathologist found evidence of apparent non-accidental blunt force trauma to the neck. But it's also what the pathologist did not find that shocked the family.
Organs, the heart, lungs, liver, etc., were not with the body.
They left a note in the bag that indicated they might be making more additional donations in the future.
And first at 6, the investigation of a business deal that deals in human body parts shifting from Detroit to Chicago as the feds launch a new raid.
And once again, hundreds of families will be left wondering if the bodies of loved ones have been bought and sold on the black market.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kirchner is here tonight with a story you'll see only on 7. Jim.
Stephen and Carolyn, this case started here, according to sources, when a man named Arthur Rathburn was shipping human body parts through Metro Airport. Get this, the box leaked blood. Those cargo haulers then called for help. Why were you stockpiling hundreds of human body parts here, sir? That's Art Rathburn. And remember his business 13 months ago? For 2 days, federal investigators dressed in hazmat suits removed body parts of 1,000 different people. Arms, legs, heads cut up and kept on ice, not embalmed, so they would be fresh for the black market.
They left a note in the bag that indicated they might be making more additional donations in the future.
Today, the rundown warehouse on Detroit's east side is shuttered and up for sale. Sources say Rathburn's seized records led them to the Chicago area today, a business called Biological Resource Center in Rosemont. It's difficult to see from the outside, but sources say the hazmat suits and raid are underway on the 6th floor of this office building. The same paper trail led investigators to Biological Resource Center in Phoenix last January, and another raid removing body parts and corpses. There were also ties to similar businesses in Las Vegas. Since these dealt directly with the public, families were left without answers.
They left a note in the bag that indicated they might be making more additional donations in the future.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
What's your thoughts? Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click the like, click the notification bell, and subscribe to this channel.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.